Have you ever texted her, called her, only to be met with silence? The mind starts racing, the ego starts hurting. But here's the truth. How you respond when a woman ignores you will either make you weak or make you unstoppable. Today, I'm going to teach you how to flip the script and take control without losing your power. When a woman ignores you, the first instinct for many men is to chase, to demand attention, or to overanalyze every detail of the situation. But here's the truth. Silence is power, and learning to harness it can completely shift the dynamics in your favor. When you stop reacting impulsively, you immediately gain control over the interaction. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about understanding that your energy and attention are valuable, and they should never be given away to someone who tries to manipulate or test you. Reacting hastily, sending multiple messages, calling repeatedly, or showing visible frustration only signals weakness. It tells her that her behavior has the power to disturb your emotional balance. This is why mastering the art of silence is so crucial. It allows you to step back, observe, and maintain your dignity while she remains uncertain about your next move. Silence also creates curiosity. When a person doesn't know how you will respond, they start to wonder about you, your life, and your priorities. Your composure becomes magnetic because it contrasts sharply with their expectations. Most people assume that being ignored will provoke a frantic response, but when you remain calm and composed, it flips the script entirely. You are no longer reacting. You are acting with purpose. This deliberate restraint subtly shifts the power dynamic. Instead of her feeling in control, she starts to question her own actions. Why isn't he reacting? Why is he unbothered? And this internal questioning, often unconscious, can make her respect your presence more deeply than any words or gestures ever could. Another important aspect of using silence as power is the internal transformation it brings. When you stop obsessing over someone else's attention, you redirect that energy toward yourself. Your focus moves from external validation to personal growth, which is inherently attractive. Confidence is not something you can fake. It comes from knowing your worth and living by your own standards. Silence allows you to cultivate that confidence. It demonstrates self-control, maturity, and emotional intelligence. By not reacting immediately, you show that you are not dependent on her for your happiness or sense of value. This self-assuredness becomes evident in your actions, body language, and overall demeanor, which are far more powerful than any message or confrontation. Finally, silence is a form of unspoken communication. It signals that you are grounded, that you are not easily swayed, and that your attention must be earned, not demanded. It places the responsibility back on her to consider how she approaches you, effectively turning the tables without any direct confrontation. In essence, silence is not absence. It is presence with restraint. It is a conscious choice to protect your energy while maintaining control over your emotional state. By mastering this approach, you not only preserve your self-respect, but also enhance your value in her eyes, creating a dynamic where your calm confidence commands attention and subtly crushes ego without ever needing to speak aggressively. When a woman ignores you, it is essential to understand that her behavior is rarely about you personally. More often, it reflects her own mindset, feelings, or insecurities. Recognizing this distinction is crucial because many men make the mistake of internalizing her actions and letting them affect their self-esteem. Hen you grasp that ignoring you is about her ego, her tests, or her need for validation, you can respond with clarity and confidence instead of confusion and frustration. The first step in this Understanding is accepting that people often behave in ways that serve their own emotional needs. Her silence may be a way to assert control, gauge your interest, or see how much effort you're willing to put in. None of this diminishes your worth. It merely shows her tendencies. By separating her behavior from your self-value, you remove the emotional weight and avoid being manipulated. Seeing it from this perspective allows you to maintain emotional balance. When a person feels ignored, the natural human reaction is often to panic, overthink, or try to fix the situation. However, when you recognize that her ignoring you is not a reflection of your inadequacy, you shift from a reactive mindset to a proactive one. You stop chasing her attention because you no longer feel threatened by her silence. Instead, you respond with measured actions, maintaining your dignity and composure. Understanding that her behavior is about her own ego means that any frustration, confusion, or anxiety she might cause is temporary and controllable by you. You regain the power to decide how much influence her actions have over your emotions. Furthermore, knowing that her ignoring is about her ego allows you to approach the situation strategically. You begin to observe rather than react. Instead of sending desperate messages or overanalyzing each interaction, you watch for patterns, tone, and intentions. This awareness enables you to respond in ways that demonstrate confidence and self-respect. For example, if she ignores your text, your reaction could be calm and minimal or focused on your personal goals, showing that your life is not centered around her attention. By doing this, you place value on yourself rather than on her validation, subtly signaling that your respect must be earned rather than assumed. This mindset also protects your emotional well-being. When you stop internalizing her behavior, you reduce stress, anxiety, and overthinking. You become less reactive and more composed, which is inherently attractive. People, in general, are drawn to those who are self-assured and emotionally independent. Her attempts to test or manipulate your attention lose their effect because you are no longer a participant in her ego game. Instead, you are in control of your own responses, priorities, and emotional state. Ultimately, understanding that a woman ignoring you is about her, not you, empowers you to act from a place of confidence rather than desperation. It teaches patience, emotional intelligence, and self-respect. You no longer chase validation, you no longer compromise your energy, and you no longer let someone else's ego dictate your happiness. By mastering this perspective, you create a dynamic where your calm, grounded presence naturally commands attention, respect, and intrigue without needing to play games or react impulsively. Focusing on yourself is one of the most powerful strategies when a woman ignores you, yet it is also one of the most overlooked. Many men make the mistake of centering their lives around someone else's attention, allowing their self-worth to fluctuate based on whether she responds or not. This approach not only diminishes confidence, but also signals dependency, which can be subconsciously unattractive. When a woman ignores you, it creates a perfect opportunity to redirect your energy toward your personal growth, goals, and passions. By doing so, you demonstrate that your life is full and meaningful independently of her, which immediately increases your value in her eyes. Focusing on yourself isn't about ignoring her out of spite. It's about prioritizing your own life and becoming a better version of yourself while maintaining emotional stability. When you focus on yourself, you reclaim control over your attention and energy. Time and energy are finite resources, and where you invest them determines your emotional state and personal growth. If you pour your energy into obsessing over her silence, you lose both mental clarity and your ability to progress in life. Conversely, when you use this period to pursue your goals, hobbies, fitness, or social life, you create momentum in your own life, which is empowering and deeply attractive. Your confidence becomes self-sustained, not reliant on external validation. She may notice your growth, your independence, and your ambition, which naturally draws attention without you needing to chase it. Focusing on yourself also fosters a sense of fulfillment that no other person can provide, reinforcing that your happiness is internally driven rather than externally dependent. Another significant aspect of focusing on yourself is the shift in perspective it creates. When you stop centering your emotions around her behavior, you gain clarity to see the bigger picture. Ignoring her attention no longer feels like rejection. It becomes a cue for self-improvement. You start to understand that your energy is best spent on what benefits you most, rather than trying to influence someone else's feelings or decisions. This mindset reduces anxiety, overthinking, and emotional vulnerability, all of which are essential traits of a confident and attractive individual. It transforms the situation from a test of ego into an opportunity for personal development. Moreover, focusing on yourself strengthens emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable and people will come and go, but your skills, achievements, and self-awareness remain with you. By investing in yourself during moments of uncertainty, you cultivate a sense of inner stability that cannot be shaken by someone else's actions. You learn to derive confidence from accomplishments, self-care routines, and personal growth, rather than temporary attention or approval. This independence communicates strength and self-respect without needing to assert it verbally or confrontationally. Ultimately, focusing on yourself when a woman ignores you is about creating a life that is rich, fulfilling, and self-directed. It allows you to stay composed, maintain dignity, and cultivate confidence that is magnetic and authentic. It is a strategy that simultaneously elevates your life while subtly asserting your value, proving that your attention and energy are not easily swayed. By investing in yourself, you not only enhance your personal growth, but also position yourself as someone whose presence is compelling, respected, and worthy of admiration, without ever needing to chase validation or react impulsively. Controlling the narrative is one of the most powerful tools you have when a woman ignores you, and it is closely tied to emotional intelligence and self-respect. Many men make the mistake of allowing someone else's behavior to dictate their emotions, reactions, and sense of self-worth. When you relinquish this control, you give away your power and allow her ego to manipulate you. Controlling the narrative means taking charge of how you perceive the situation, how you respond, and how much influence her behavior has over your life. It's about realizing that her ignoring you is not a game you are compelled to play. It's an opportunity to assert your own emotional authority. By doing so, you position yourself as calm, composed, and confident, a person whose attention and energy are earned, not demanded. The first step in controlling the narrative is shifting your perspective. Instead of thinking, "Why is she ignoring me?" or "What did I do wrong?" you start framing the situation as, "This is about her behavior, not my value." By doing this, you separate her actions from your self-esteem. Her silence or avoidance is no longer a reflection of your inadequacy, but rather a reflection of her choices, priorities, and ego. This mental shift allows you to observe without reacting impulsively. You gain clarity to decide when, if, and how to engage, rather than being driven by emotion or desperation. Once your mindset is aligned, controlling the narrative extends into your actions. You no longer send multiple messages, make frantic calls, or seek validation. Instead, your actions are deliberate, measured, and focused on your life. You prioritize your goals, friendships, and passions, and your attention becomes selective. By doing this, you are subtly sending a message without confrontation. Your energy is valuable, your presence is deliberate, and your respect cannot be earned through games or manipulation. She begins to notice that you are not reactive, that your life is full and independent, and that her attempts to provoke or test you are ineffective. This silent communication is often more impactful than any words because it demonstrates self-respect and emotional maturity. Controlling the narrative also involves managing expectations, both yours and hers. You set the rules of engagement in your mind. You choose when to respond, how much attention to give, and what behavior is acceptable. By controlling these internal parameters, you eliminate the chaos caused by her unpredictability. This mindset fosters confidence because you are no longer at the mercy of her ego or actions. Instead, you are in control of your own story, guiding your emotions, your behavior, and your focus. Finally, controlling the narrative strengthens long-term emotional resilience. Life will present situations where people ignore, test, or challenge you, and learning to maintain control in one relationship builds the foundation to handle all interactions with composure. It transforms moments of potential frustration into opportunities for growth, self-reflection, and empowerment. By controlling the narrative, you ensure that your sense of self, your confidence, and your dignity remain intact, regardless of how someone else behaves. It is not manipulation, it is mastery of your own emotions and actions, which naturally commands respect and subtly influences the dynamics of the interaction. Being untouchable is the ultimate expression of confidence and self-respect when a woman ignores you. It's not about being arrogant or indifferent for the sake of ego. It's about establishing a presence and energy that cannot be shaken or manipulated by someone else's actions. Many men fall into the trap of letting another person's behavior dictate their mood, thoughts, and actions, which immediately makes them vulnerable and reactive. An untouchable mindset means you remain composed, grounded, and self-assured regardless of external circumstances. It is about creating a life and identity so strong that the attention or lack thereof from others, including a woman who ignores you, cannot destabilize you. This level of emotional independence is magnetic because it signals that you are secure, confident, and in control of your own world. To be untouchable, the first step is mastering your internal world. Your sense of value, self-worth, and confidence must come from within, not from the approval, responses, or attention of anyone else. When a woman ignores you, the natural temptation is to overanalyze, worry, or chase her attention. An untouchable man recognizes this pattern and refuses to succumb. He understands that his happiness and confidence are not contingent on someone else's actions. By internalizing this principle, you create a shield against manipulation and maintain clarity in your emotions and decisions. Emotional independence allows you to act deliberately rather than react impulsively, which instantly elevates your presence. Being untouchable also involves consistent self-improvement and focus on your life. While she may be testing, ignoring, or manipulating, your attention is invested in meaningful pursuits, career, hobbies, fitness, social connections, and personal growth. This active investment in yourself communicates that your life is fulfilling and valuable without needing external validation. The very act of being fully engaged in your own world makes you untouchable because it creates an aura of confidence, ambition, and purpose that is impossible to shake with games or silence. People are naturally drawn to those who are grounded, independent, and self-sufficient. Another critical aspect of being untouchable is restraint. You do not react to provocations, tests, or ego games. You respond selectively and strategically, maintaining control over your actions and emotions. This restraint is a subtle but powerful way to assert your value without confrontation. By not giving in to impulsive behaviors, you demonstrate that your attention must be earned and that your presence is not easily manipulated. This approach not only crushes the ego of someone trying to test or provoke you, but also reinforces your own dignity and composure. Finally, being untouchable is a long-term mindset that transforms how you interact with all relationships, not just romantic ones. It builds emotional resilience, self-confidence, and clarity of purpose. You are no longer dependent on external validation to feel secure or powerful. Instead, you radiate a calm, confident energy that attracts respect, admiration, and intrigue naturally. In essence, being untouchable is the highest form of self-mastery. It protects your energy, preserves your dignity, and allows you to navigate any situation with composure, strategic awareness, and unwavering confidence. By embodying this principle, you do not just respond to her ignoring you, you rise above it, establishing yourself as someone whose presence and value are impossible to undermine.